Do you know what a data broker is? A recent survey found 80% of people have no clue.
Human civilization from the beginning has thrived on the availability of resources. It started with fertile land and rivers, then transferred to metals and ores. The readily the resource was available, the more the civilizations and kingdoms grew. If we need to pick two resources that set the course for the modern-day prosperity of the nations, they would be gold and oil. And as the markets and commerce grew, there came brokers, the intermediary people making deals between two parties. In the modern day, the meaning of resources and dealers has changed. Today's gold is your data. It is your likes and dislikes, your purchasing habits, your details. When there is a new resource, there is a new market, and when there is a new market, there are new brokers. And unlike share market, investment, or real estate brokers, you don't know about this new form of brokers because, despite being aware of it, you don't see your data like gold.
Do you know what a data broker is? A recent survey found 80% of people have no clue.
Surfing the web could be leaving you vulnerable to illegal data brokers.
In terms of where they're getting it, really it's any place that a consumer might enter data. It could be from a social network, it could be when you take out your mortgage, and anything in between.
Post-Edward Snowden, has the conversation changed? Are more people aware now in the last year of not just the NSA and the data that they're gathering, but all the data about them that exists?
There's a notion that's been put forth that somehow consumer is helpless in this conversation. Our view is that consumers are far more in control because consumers have very specific interests and needs and preferences.
This person suggests that the consumers are in control. But are they? Do we even know what part of our data is a commodity and what is not? Or how does this industry work? These are the questions we need to ask. Data privacy is a term that has been up for debates for almost a decade now, ever since the advent of social media. And we've all heard about the algorithms of Facebook, YouTube, and other social media giants that favor posting content as per the consumer behavior. While these algorithms prying on confirmation bias have been a problematic trend and led to many political upheavals, another cause of worry is social media platforms selling user behavior patterns to advertisers.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
But as far as we officially know, Google, Facebook, Twitter, and other internet giants haven't sold our private data to the advertisers. Yet, data selling is a giant multi-billion-dollar industry today. Approximately a $200 billion industry globally. More than 400 tech companies in the USA alone work solely to collect your data and sell it to advertisers. These brokers trace your personality, your patterns, your likes, your dislikes, the kind of food you eat, what brands you prefer, what item of the particular brand you prefer. All of this information helps them make an accurate profile, so to say, of a person. At this point, you might be scared and think that they are achieving this task by hacking into your computer or doing something illegal. But things are not as nefarious. While hackers do exist, but for data brokers, these hackers aren't necessary because we are volunteering to give each information possible to the world. From our photos to our food, from our life goals to our fitness goals, we voluntarily share everything with the world. If we are going for a walk, we use a health app to count the steps. Like an item, add to a cart, buy it, and make a traceable online history of our spending. Any thought or question that comes to our mind, we Google it. We are the research asset for the companies that want to know the minute, tiny details about our personality. Each time we visit a website, use it for free, accept the terms and conditions, and select the options to let them the cookies. These are the sweet bits of our information and browsing patterns that we willingly offer to the website, that in turn sell the information to the data brokers. The secondary source of our data for these companies are physical brick-and-mortar businesses that would share our shopping history to the data brokerage companies. One way of doing it being the loyalty cards. At this point, you may ask, why would anybody want this information? The simplest answer to the question is the advertisers. The advertising industry is as old as any form of media. From newspapers to magazines, to radio to TV, and now online, the companies selling various products are always fighting for more ways to grab the consumer attention and sell their products to them in unique ways. But never in history have they found the specificity of their customer. A traditional ad on a TV show is talking to its whole audience, but many of them might never use this product. A meats brand ad is of no use to a vegetarian. Similarly, a quit smoking product ad is useless to a non-smoker. But now, you watch a video about vegans and your online presence can be bombarded with different plant-based products, making you a highly likely buyer.
That is a much more sophisticated version of what has always taken place. I mean, we all grew up in one generation or another watching I Love Lucy or the Waltons or Seinfeld or whatever the show might have been of the day. And those were essentially media that created audiences that advertisers could then use to deliver a product to. Today, what we're dealing with is no different than that. It just happens in a much more sophisticated way that relies on information.
Now, many of the viewers might be of the thought that it is nothing nefarious, but only efficient advertising, and in a sense, a better way to view ads, as only relevant ads might appear during their internet surfing. But the problem is much deeper than that. It is about the lack of personal freedom and choices. If you're inclining in one direction, the constant bombardment of ads might lead to more towards that direction. It isn't something you choose. It is the slow and steady shaping of a personality, treating people only as consumers and pushing to buy more and more. It is the continuation of the cycle that is the problem.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate, so we buy we don't need.
An even deeper problem than merely purchasing goods and advertising is that you and I have no control over who these brokers are selling the data to. It could be to a brand of shoes, or it could be to a radical political organization. We have already seen the chaos caused around the world by just social media posts. Around the world, political parties spend millions on influencing both domestic and international politics. With so many people already on the fringes of society with unlimited access to information, who is to say where selected, efficient, targeted political propaganda might do to a fragile mind? As again, a broker is just somebody who works a deal between two interested parties. But in the case of data brokerage, you never actively seek the deal signed for you by these data-selling companies. You might not even be aware of the other party with whom the data brokers will actively work to get you in contact. In the end, the sum zero game is of freedom. While we all want the internet to be free of government interest, we also want our minds to be free from nefarious influence. But when individuals are molded in a certain way, by certain interests, without the individual's knowledge, it is easy to pack them in herds and shepherd in any direction wanted. But it is not all doom and gloom. Many agencies are already working on putting stricter regulations on these companies. And beyond government and authority regulations, we too have to work to shape our lives by our choices. If we want to lead a life free of nefarious influence, we need to be diligent as well. The first step is to be aware of what we share and not share on our social media. Another could be to read the terms and regulations of the website we register with. And another step could be to opt in for VPNs and networks that save us from targeted ads and location tracking. We have to remember, all freedoms come with a cost, and that cost is responsibilities. We have to take responsibility for our online and personal behavior to lead a life of an informed and aware individual. Otherwise, we might as well lead a life of an obedient profile on a database ready to be manipulated.
Congrats, you watched the whole video. Looks like this video is your cup of tea, then consider watching another video. Give a like to the video, comment your thoughts down and share to spread the word. Please subscribe to the channel to support and watch more videos. Keep inspiring.